Welcome. Today we talk about differences between a private company and public company. Differences between a private company and a public company. As I said previously, a private company by name is identified as it is having private word in its title. So there are lot of differences between private company and a public company. We talk about some of the differences between private company and public company. First, coming to the minimum number of shareholders in a private company is 2 and the maximum is 200 as per the new law. Earlier, the maximum number was 50, but it's increased in 2013 Indian Companies Act. The maximum number of shareholders in a private company is increased to 200. But in a public company, the minimum number is 7 and there is no limit on maximum number of shareholders. Second difference is a private company cannot issue prospectus. Now, prospectus is the invitation, open invitation to general public, inviting them to invest in their company. Briefly, the prospectus can be explained as the invitation to general public or investors to invest their money, open invitation, invest their money in the company. A private company cannot give such prospectus to general public, whereas the public limited company can issue prospectus, can take money as investment from the general public. Third difference is non-transferable shares. Non-transferable shares. The private company shares are usually not transferable in general stock exchanges. They cannot sell their shares in stock exchanges, nor they have to sell their shares to the company only. They should not sell as and when they want. They cannot sell to other members without the permission of the company. So there is lot of restrictions on share transfers in a private company. Now coming to public limited company, it is very easy to transfer shares by selling in the stock exchanges. They can easily transfer their shares. Now coming to next difference is can start business immediately after getting registration certificate. A private limited company can start its business immediately after it gets registration certificate from the registrar. So it can start business immediately. But public limited company should get registration certificate, should start statutory meeting, should conduct and then take permission from the registrar of companies, then starting the business. Next difference is in private company minimum number of directors is 2, whereas in public limited company the minimum number of directors is 3. So in a private company minimum directors 2. In a private public company minimum directors is 3. Next difference is in a private company they need not conduct statutory meeting. They need not conduct statutory meeting. Next, coming to public limited company, it is mandatory to conduct the statutory meeting before commencing the main business production activity. Now coming to next differences between the two are no need to of minimum subscription by a private company. What is minimum subscription? If a company has to be established, if a public company has to be established, the subscription, the amount of capital offered to sell to the public is called subscription. And minimum subscription means unless they get the minimum amount of subscription, the company should not be started. So for this purpose, the companies appoint agents, mediators, middlemen, brokers, sub-brokers to get subscription for their issued capital. So such condition is not applicable to a private company. The public company should get subscription amount. Otherwise, if they do not get minimum subscription, they have to return the amount and close down the company. Next difference is private word is there in the private company name. Private is the key word which should be there in the name of the private company. So such private word is there in public company. Now eligible share. Eligible share is used word for in the appointing of the directors. Eligibility of directors for to contest as director. So minimum number of shares to be purchased if a candidate is interested in electing as a director. The number of shares, minimum number of shares to be bought by a person who is interested to contest as director. So there is no such condition in private company, and there is compulsorily the candidate has to buy the minimum subscription for the appointing of the eligibility for appointing of the director post. So coming to next difference in private company is no retirement age for directors. No retirement age for directors in private company, whereas 65 years is the retirement age in public company. And the every director should retire on rotation basis. Every director should retire on rotation basis. But in private company, there is no such rotation retirement of directors. There is no such condition is applied to the directors in private company. Next, directors' consent has to be submitted to the registrar in private company. If a person is interested to be as a director, his consent must be written in the prospectus in a public limited company. Now coming to next difference is no limit on director's salary in a private company. No limit on director's salary in a private company. No maximum limit. But whereas in public limited company, the maximum limit of salaries of directors is capped, is limited to 11% of the profits of the company. Now, one resolution is sufficient for all directors' appointment in a private company. By one resolution only, they can appoint as many directors as they want. But in a public company, each director has to be appointed by a separate resolution. Separate resolutions are necessary for appointing as a director. Every director should be appointed by a separate resolution, whereas in private company, with only one resolution, all the directors can be appointed. Next difference is regarding quorum. In a private company, the quorum is 2. Quorum means minimum attendance in a meeting to take decisions. Minimum attendance of the participants is called as quorum. The minimum attendance or the quorum in private company is 2, whereas the quorum in public company is 5. So these are the main differences between private company and public company. We go back to the main differences once again. Minimum number of members is 2, and 2 in case of private company, and in case of public company it is 7. Maximum number of members in a private company is 200, whereas in private company it is 200. In public company there is no limit. Second thing, issue of prospectus. Private companies should not issue prospectus. Public companies can issue prospectus, or if the money is available, they should issue in lieu prospectus to the registrar. There is no easy transferability on shares. But in public limited company, there is easy to transfer the shares. Private company can start the business immediately after registration, whereas the public limited company has to wait for getting the statutory meeting and commencement of the business certificate. Next, coming to quorum is 2 for a private company meetings, and quorum is 3 for a public limited company meetings. Now, in a private company, statutory meeting is not necessary, whereas in public limited company, statutory meeting is compulsory. Statutory meeting they have to conduct. A private company need not ask for minimum subscription, whereas the public limited company, the minimum subscription is a must. So these are the some important differences between a private company and a public company, and this is for your experience. Thank you for listening.